Have you ever made plans, a vacation or a stay-at-home vacation where you have plans to do different things for each day, or maybe do a 3-day stretch of sewing, or maybe you planned on different outings with friends or family, but those things didn't happen. Maybe you got sick, maybe a family member got sick, and you had to rearrange or adjust your plans. Well, that recently happened to me, and I'm going to tell you what happened and what I did about it. Hello and welcome. My name's Angela Davis and I'm the Forum Quilter. And 2 weeks ago, I took off a week from work and I was very excited. I had plans to spend the week sewing and cooking, hanging out with my kids, my family, that sort of thing. Some of those things happened and some of those didn't happen. Both my daughters got sick. They're fine, but each one of them, had a couple days where they were just down and out. My one daughter just finished up a 10-day prescription for an earache and some sinus issues, and I came down with a head cold. So I want to talk a little bit about, what happens to us when we plan something and things don't go as planned and our energy is completely zapped from us. Well, for me, on one hand, I was disappointed. I didn't get a chance to get a head start on spring cleaning my house. I didn't complete the projects that I wanted to finish. I did work on them, but didn't complete them. But on the other hand, it made me feel really good that I was home to take care of my daughters. Now they're old enough to pretty much fend for themselves. They cook for themselves. They do their own laundry. If they're on medication, they know when they have to take their medication. I don't have to remind them of that. They're very self-sufficient. But it felt good to be home so I could cook for them. And it was a week of a lot of comfort food, homemade pizza, homemade sauce and macaroni, homemade dumplings, cabbage and noodles, a lot of comforting food. And after a couple of days of, resting and drinking a lot of fluids and my one daughter being on her medicine, they started to feel better. Mine was mostly a cold. And so the biggest thing for me was my sinuses, but the thing that really got me was how it zapped me of my energy. And I'm just curious, have you ever been in a situation where, you had plans for something, even maybe it was just for an evening and you had to stay home, something happened where your energies just got zapped from you. That's what happened to me. And so my first advice that I did was I had to readjust my thinking. So things didn't go as planned. The dust will always be there. The cluttered closet will always be there. I'll pick a long weekend in March or April to start spring cleaning, As far as the projects go, the one project that I really, really wanted to get done and up were my curtains for this room, my patchwork curtains, and I'm still working on them. I have one panel done, almost done as a matter of fact. The other panel's on my wall, ready to be sewn together. I still have to line the back and then put the sleeve on. And I'm hoping to get that finished tomorrow. So it didn't happen last week, so it'll get done this week, But even I noticed going back to work, I was still having difficulty regaining my energy. So I guess you have to think in terms of, first of all, what happened to you to zap your energy? Did you get, an ear infection or a sinus infection or the flu or COVID? Do you need to take extra time to bounce back and rest? Give yourself that time. You know, I was putting so much pressure on myself, and I was feeling guilty because I set expectations for myself. Those expectations were not met, but yet, like, why are we so hard on ourselves? You know, these things happen, you know, and when these things happen, we need to adjust. So I guess that's the first thing, you know, lower your expectations, take time for yourself, you know, go to bed an extra 15-20 minutes early. If you need to, stay home. You know, the biggest thing that I did for myself, which was a really big treat for me being home that week, was, I would say 4 days out of the 7, I went in the bedroom and took a nap, and in the middle of the day. And that was so enjoyable, you know, to be able to do that and just rest and put my feet up. And it was so enjoyable to be able to cook for my kids, you know, from scratch, because when I get home in the evening, I don't always have time to cook from scratch. It's a quick meal, you know, or maybe my daughter started a meal and then I finish it when I get home, or maybe they've made the whole meal, you know. So it was a treat for me to be able to do that for them, to comfort them when they weren't feeling well. And the other thing is, try to, when you get back your energy and you want to get into your sewing room again, pick a project that you know you can accomplish, number one, in a short period of time, and is very straightforward, so that you have that sense of accomplishment after being shut down, whether you were shut down for a few days or a couple of weeks or a month. When you come back to your sewing space, pick a project that you can pull out of your UFO bin or your WIP bin and say, I'm going to finish this because I can finish it in the next few days or maybe in a week, so that you have that really satisfying, gratifying sense of accomplishment. Because after we've been knocked down for a while, I don't know about you, but mentally, the older I get, the harder it is, you know, to sort of bounce back, you know, like we used to when we were young. And so that's why I'm really concentrating on my curtains this week. So, you know, I want to put that out there because it is the end of February, beginning of March now. And I know here in Ohio, the weather being what it is, we get little teasers, you know, we'll have a day where it's sunny, maybe rainy, but not snowing. And we think, oh, the temperature's in the high 40s, maybe 50, 51. Oh, happy, happy. And then the next day it's gray clouds, snowing again, 31 degrees. And you're zapped down again. It doesn't take much in Ohio. It's very common for a lot of people to have low vitamin D levels, to take supplements for that. You know, so it's something that I really wanted to talk about, because I'm sure I'm not the only one that's been knocked down this winter, you know, either with your own personal setbacks or a setback of a loved one where you need to take a break from your life to take care of another one. You know, we all have things that we have to do where it takes us away from our sewing. And the other thing I wanted to talk about was, even though I did have a cold last week, I did find maybe 15 minutes, 20 minutes here and there to come in here and do some sewing and some cutting. And that felt really good, because even just spending, you know, 15, 20 minutes in here felt good. Gave me a little bit of sense of accomplishment. So at the end of the video, I am going to give you some video of me working on this panel behind me that's on my ironing board of the first panel for my curtains. And I also am including a March newsletter in the description box below to give you a little highlight of what's coming in March. And I'm starting that now for the upcoming year, 2025. So I wanted to make sure to include that as well. And I'm very happy about that. And I wanted to share that with you. But I also wanted to talk a little bit about, you know, what do we do after our energy's been zapped from us? You know, how do we slowly get back into, you know, our projects? And I think that's my biggest thing. Well, I'm going to have to hold them up because they won't stay up. This is the first panel, and I ended up making an extra row across the width to make it just a little bit wider so it'll be fuller on the window. So I did a little check where I stood on the step stool and hung them up to the rod, and I'm way too short. So I don't know how I measured the window that day, but I think the measuring tape was defective, or maybe the user was defective that day. And I messed up my measurement. But not only do I have to, I added a row to the side along the length, I'm going to have to add a row to the bottom. So I'll meet you back here next time. And I'm going to continue to sew and work on my curtains. Have a great day. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, I'd really appreciate it if you'd like and subscribe. And don't forget to hit the notification bell so that you don't miss any future videos. Thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed the video and as much as I enjoyed making it. And don't forget, why sleep when you can sew? Bye.